Hey party people, welcome back to MVM for my 6th time taping this preview because I want to get it right and I want to show you some of the things that you've been talking about. I'm a day late on this preview, so I wanted to make sure I'm covering the things that I'm seeing people want to talk about when it comes to this game. So one of the big ones is like how much stuff is in the box, how big is this box? Does it seem like it's worth it? Well, I'm just going to show you stuff and you can decide if it's worth it because I can't tell you what to do with your money. But I will show you some things. I'll kind of throw in a little bit of opinion, so take that with a grain of salt. But I want you to know from my perspective what I'm seeing, and then kind of like maybe there's a little bit of argument there, maybe there isn't for you. Okay, so you'll get an idea. This is sponsored by IV Studios. They let me have free reign to do whatever I want to do anyway. So I'm very thankful for that. They just want me to inform you about the game. There will be a link to the Kickstarter page or crowdfunding page below. So here we go with Tend. Tend is a big roll and write, flip and write. I think it's flip and write on the page, but it's got a little bit of everything. It's got some rolling that you're going to mark and tick down. You're going to be trading resources with this corporation, Zenith Corporation, back and forth to unlock things on your board, all over your board. You're going to be raising farm animals, getting resources, and then you'll be trading those in to do these different projects, and then you'll also be writing on your cargo manifest, which will give you different scoring during the game. There are 12 rounds in the game. You're going to have different scoring sections for seasons 1, 2, and 3. And then this game also has this interesting little thing based on your neighbors, okay? So you want to be a good neighbor, right? Be a good neighbor, okay? That's part of this game as well. So there's a lot of different ways to score points. I'm going to try to give you an overview of that, but I'm also going to show you just some of the stuff you've been looking at. You're like, what is this? What's that? Let's talk about it. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. First of all, this box is big. I mean, I've never seen like a roll and write, flip and write this big. I've had Three Sisters. I have Hadrian's Wall. I have a lot of these different ones. They're not this big. It's really, really big. Now, what's inside of that is a lot of these sheets, okay? So there's quite a few sheets. Now, this is also for randomization because these all have different setups on them. They have a lot of different setups on them. So they'll have like the tilling will be in a different area here. I believe the prototype has mostly the same one. These different manifests here, the cargo manifests will have different spots where they score differently. So this will be randomized as well. Then you have your scoring sheet, your scratch sheets. So then you'll be able to scratch those off as well. I believe that in the app they have something for this too, and they probably have some reloads for this, and I'm thinking they probably have reloads to this on the page. All right, so that's really basically I wanted to show you all that stuff. Now for randomization purposes as well, you're going to have a whole bunch of season cards and action cards as well, and you're going to have a bunch of different scoring cards. So you're not going to see everything in the game. All you're going to really have consistently the exact same thing every time is your neighbor deck, and then also the starter action cards. That's about it, okay? So everything else is super random and it's going to come out that way and change the way the game plays. All right, so how do we play the game? Once again, 12 rounds here. We're going to have 5 phases in a round. I'm going to be skipping around just a little bit to show you everything. I'm going to be cheating like crazy. I'm going to show you some stuff just because you get an idea. All right. So the first phase is the neighbor phase. Now, these are the neighbor cards. Someone may give this to you and you're going to get that resource. But the person that does give this to you at any point during their turn, they're going to be ticking these side things off to the left and the right. The solo player can just do this on their own to score points, but then they have you have these to the left and to the right here, and you are in a competition with this one because the more you have than that person, you get points for it. So you get benefits as you tick this off, and we can just start talking about resources. As you get the rewards and resources, you have to spend them, but I'll show you how that works during the game. But this one is a very interesting one. So if you have a side that doesn't have a card, you'll pick 2, you'll choose 1. All right, you have your scoring. Your scoring takes place right before your 6th, right before your 10th, and then also at the end of your 12th. All right, then you have your setup, your kind of setup phase where you're going to be moving these cards down. So every round you're going to be sliding these cards down, and you're going to see the new ones that are coming in each round, but everything is going to get wiped out. So let's just simulate that. So we'll just say, hey, this is another round. We'll slide these down, and then we'll go, all right, hey, we got this one here. I'll slide this over. I'll shuffle the cards. Woo, that is a bad shuffle, but we're going to do it anyway. And then boom, that is our setup for the next round, and we can even see what's coming. So now we're just looking at this stuff. We have our first season, second season, and third season scoring, so we know what's coming up over there. All right, so now here we are. We're going to start ticking up our veggies because now the next round is our growth stage. You will have dice that have to be enclosed in fences, and then you'll have dice that will be on these tilled lands like this right here. They'll have little squiggly lines on them. And when you do, you'll be able to place these dice in there, and you do have to unlock them, okay? You do have to unlock them. There's even one special one that needs a trellis in here that you're gonna have to create. And what you would do is you tick these up, and if you tick them up and you turn something that's into white, like so, it will give you a benefit. So like for this one here, I'm going to get the pineapple. Now this is the time when we start talking about resources. Anytime you get a resource, you're going to have to spend it right away. And there are several things that you can do with that resource. Sometimes it's just needed specifically right here on some of these upgrades, okay? Specifically like coins, specifically like wood. There's also iron and things like that. But copper, iron, things like that. But the big part of the game is do you turn them into money so you can get other things like that, or do you start unlocking different things like the broken bridge, or do you start groundskeeping so you can build more land for all your different things so you can plant, or you can add animals. But then you also can turn them for coins, and you can also turn them in for your manifest, which creates patterns based on how rare they are. So the better the resource, the more different Tetris-like shapes you'll get. And what you'll do is you'll put them in these blocked columns here, these different sections that are columns for points. And if you get all the way across one way horizontally, you'll even get extra action. So it's got that very much that combo feel. You can do one thing to get another thing, and then you're over here on this board and you got another decision to make. This one is a big version of that. So for example, let's just say I get one of these milk resources, or let's just say I eventually get to the part where I get one of these wool guys. I actually can use this to get two green, and I can put them in any of these sections, and sometimes sections get more points because they are a certain color. Or I could turn it into let's see, multiple coins. I can turn it into 2 coins, start ticking that off over here to do different things like get different equipment upgrades, fishing upgrades, all kinds of stuff. Or I can spend this to prepare to get another die for some eggs. I can spend this to prepare to get the big milk die, this big one right here. Got to make a case for it, but I don't have any room for it right now. But there's all those things you can do to prepare for some things that are going to happen in the game. If that makes sense, we're off to it, because some of these will just go away. And you got to remember, if you ever get this, so for example, I got this right now, I can use this for my neighbor bonus. I take this and it tells me that I get 2. So then what I'll do is I'll take that and I will mark off these 2 here. So I'm going to mark off 1, 2, but then I also get those bonuses that get added to my ability to add this here. So I'm going to take this copper here and I'm going to mark this off. And then I also got a red, so I'm going to mark that off. I'm going to mark that red piece off, which that red one is a red blueprint. So I have the red blueprint, and now all I need is 2 coins. I need steel, was it iron, and then I need a purple. So like all I'm trying to do is make sure I have these, and then I would hand it off to my neighbor to the right. Okay, so then when they start the round, they would have a choice between these 2. So that's kind of how that part of the game works. All right, so now we're off into our actual turns, and I'm going to show you some of the different actions that happen in this game. You get 2 actions on your turn, and it's simultaneous, so nobody has to wait for everybody to do this. Those are your actions here. Now you have your regular actions that are just these one things, but then you also have actions that have either or, then you have something in the middle, and then you have the bottom. This is how this works. As you can see, there's actions that just have one, or they have both on here. You choose one, and if you fulfill the requirement in the middle, you can take the bottom. So there's an opportunity to get multiple different things. And of course, like you've seen before, we're ticking off boxes like crazy so that you never know what's going on here. You never know what's going to happen. So let's just take this one for instance. I think I'm going to chop some wood, and I'm going to use this one. Now, by the way, this is a regular and this is an upgrade. just a prototype thing. Everything you see here is in prototype form. That's going to be on my scratchy board, not scratchy sniff, scratchy board, okay? So we're going to go to the woods and chop some wood. What we do is we look at this setup here, and we want to chop down. There's actually a path that does it faster, but we're going to chop this wood path down, and we just get to chop it once. I'm going to chop it once, chop it straight down, and what do we get? We got another opportunity to chop wood, but we also got to upgrade. So I'm going to go ahead and mark off this chop and upgrade because the background is purple. For mines, when you're doing the mining, you're going to get a yellow background. If you get a yellow background, you get the upgrade. So it looks like I got a coin, and I'm going to invest that coin right away into working on that upgrade till, because I want to make sure I'm upgrading this thing super fast for what I'm working on. And then it says any fishing rod upgrade unlocked. Now, if I had a fishing upgrade unlocked, let's say I even finished it during the round, I would be able to get those 2 coins. But fear not, I have another turn. So I can actually, this one right here says I can choose between these 3 right here. If I have 8 tiles covered on here, which I do, 8 tiles covered on my cargo manifest, I may want to take this action so that I can get these resources right here. So that's what I am going to do. What action am I going to take? Well, I'm going to show you the mining action. The mining action, once again, you're kind of working off of these things, but also when you get past this line in the middle, you have to use 2 actions in order to go deeper or use your upgraded item. One of the ways that you can do that is use your upgraded item, which represents 2 actions, but then you also have this thing called energy bars, which you'll spend a coins to get, and then you have 2 opportunities to use it to act as a +1 action. There's even a reel that has a little reel that's on top of your fish upgrade that gives you an extra one as well. So you have different ways to kind of bump up your actions as you go along. But woods is similar to it. You're going to have to continue your path adjacent or go down. It looks like I got a stone. All right, and it's not an upgrade, so I would just look at something as a stone. Maybe I want to help build this bridge. I'm working my way on it. And it even says on the right side what resources you can get, so you have an idea of what you're fishing for. And speaking of fishing, down here at the bottom of each one of these, as you go down here at the bottom, you can unlock these different fishing locations. And if you repair the broken bridge, you can get one of these fishing locations. We'll get to fishing in a minute, but I have these resources I can get. Looks like a wood and an exo stump. So maybe I want to use the wood for here, and then I may want to use the exo stump. I can look at this. It says 2 coins. So why don't I use the 2 coins instead of using the exo wood for what it is? I'm going to go ahead and use those 2 coins. Sounds good to me. So now I'm working on that rod that I want, and then I'm there. Okay, so then that would be my 2 actions, but I'm going to cover the rest of them just to give you an idea. That would be my 2 actions. So one of the other things you can do is fish. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and cheat here. Shh, don't tell anybody. Here we go. I'm going to cheat. Okay, I have my upgraded rod. Okay, don't tell anybody. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to fish on our pond right here. So the pond is already the one that's on the board. Like I said, if you get to the bottom of this different mines and the woods, you can get better fishing prospects in these ponds. You just have to choose which one you're doing. All right. So what we're doing is we are looking at these. We use these dice. The dice have wild sides on them that look like this. They have the 10 icon on them. Otherwise, we just roll them. And what we do is we look at where these line up. I just happen to get one of the worst rolls. So let me go ahead and, ooh, boy, look at that. Because I cheated, I'm not getting the right rolls. All right, so 5, we have a 5 here, and we have a 2 here. All right, so 5 and 2 meet up on this little blue guy. And what I'm doing is, once again, I'm deciding how I want to place this. I can take him for a coin. I can take him for one of the manifests. Or let's say I want to use them for one of these badges. Now, badges are one of the ways you can score a good chunk of points. What you'll have is you have your awards, where if you fill in all these spots, so for example, I'm just going to use this one here and cheat a little bit. If I have the fish, that blue fish that I just found over there, if I have this other fish and this other fish, and once I fill that out, I get a badge. I get this badge right here, and I would be able to add stamps to this right here, okay, like that. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to show you a random fish that's on here to give you an idea of what would happen. So let's say I got this bigger one here. I got this bigger guy with the big red face. What I would do is I would look at this chart over here, and I wanted to turn it in to put it on my manifest because it's asking me to score things for having, let's see, gain 2 points for every edge tile covered by goods in your manifest. And it even has a scoring on there, by the way. So maybe I want to do one of these numbers. I can get, let's say, 3 for that fish. So what I'll do is I want them on the edge. So I'll just go boom, boom, boom. And it's got this cute little stamps of the icons on there. You can't touch them, but you can have them as diagonals. So you're not going to stack up blues. You have to kind of make a puzzle out of it. And there's actually scoring cards that say, hey, like if you got a gap in there, you're going to score points for every little gap. Think cartographers in that sense, right? Like the cartographers kind of setups. So yeah, that's basically the run of the game. We have our till part. So one of these big ones here in the game, of course, is farming, right? So you want to get these. You want to get these different areas here to start farming. When I said I can turn things in for coins, over here you have animals, which you're going to have to store up for when you actually build up these areas here, these enclosed areas for them. But you can bank those. This is one of the only things you can bank in the game. So you actually would save those coins up. You would tick them off, but then when you're ready to place them in there, you can place them in there. You have your trellis, which is a specific size, and they have a specific die that goes in there, valuable resource. And then we have our different size crops. This is our pumpkin. I still haven't figured out what this berry thing looking thing is. And then this one is a pineapple. I know this looks like a pineapple. It's a pineapple. And what we do is we have to kind of make these little plots in here for it. So when you take the tend action, you have several options. Let's go ahead and put the stuff back where it belongs. Okay, you can't move this stuff around, by the way. You got to start out here. We're going to do one of these numbers. We're going to start from 1. Okay, so we pick one of these things. We can plant a crop. So like this one right here, I'm planting a crop right there. I just put it in, let's say that. Now, I can also, instead of doing that, I can till up to 4 spots here. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can work at that however you want. As a matter of fact, the groundskeeping gives you an option to take resources and use them to help build fences and also till your land. Okay, so you have different ways of getting this. You don't have to just take the till action. You may just have a whole bunch of resources that you want to dump into this stuff. And then you have water. So if things are adjacent, these plants are adjacent, you can water them both. And then when you water them both, they go up 1. You'll see these ones with the X's on them. You'll take those resources and they go away. And then you'll see some that have like a kind of a keep going kind of sign here, which means you just got to flip them back to 1 and start over. Those resources, once you get them, you're putting them out here, you turn them into coins, turning them into things for the cargo manifest, or you're turning them in for your neighbor. You have a lot of things that you can consider on here. And then once again, like I said, as you unlock more of this stuff, you potentially could unlock more of these. And trust me, they don't get any easier to fulfill because they expect you to be stacked up and upgraded. You will do this and go through this for several rounds until you get to the scoring. So what are you scoring? So each time we get to an end of a scoring situation, we'll look at this card and we'll compare it to what we have here. So for example, I have this goal number 1. It says, hey, gain 2 points for every edge tile covered by goods in your cargo net. So you want to make sure you have these covered in a specific way. Same thing for each goal. It'll be like that. Now, at the end of the game, okay, so at the end of the game, you're going to be looking at your stalls, which are cut off in these sections right here. At the bottom, and remember I was talking about randomness, they have this random setup where certain things, mining icons, are going to be worth 0, so you probably don't want to put anything in here, but the mining icons in the middle are worth 2. Everything else is worth 1. Everything else is worth 1 unless it says it's not worth anything. So for example, I probably didn't want to put this little fish in here because it's worth 0. I failed to mention, if you fill in like an entire row, you can unlock another action. So that's something to pay attention to. All right. So you're going to be totaling these up and putting them in here in these different slots. Once again, these badges, and I needed to highlight this. Once you get these these awards, you eventually get badges if you complete the stuff, and that will score you a good chunk of points. These other things up here can give you 1 resources, or these can give you actual other actions in the game. This can add a card. This was add one of the cards from the seasons. I never do that action. Wood Explorer is one that you want to do because it's a multiplier. It multiplies for the badges. And then you have the buyback program, purchase any one wild good to be used on a badge. So you have that one as well. And then you're going to need these blueprints and red blueprints, which you can also get down here. But you're going to find that you have to dig deep and find some of these rare resources that give you some of these awesome opportunities. You got to lean into something. These cards will put you in the right direction. And I think that's pretty much it for the game. There's a lot to explain, but if I go too long, we kind of fall on deaf ears, right? So what am I thinking about this game that I really want to share to you? It has a lot of that randomness that you're looking for so that you know you're not playing the exact same game over and over again. Now, I played this multiple times solo, and I find that at lower player counts, it's just as comfortable as potentially higher player counts, because I only played it solo and it plays very smoothly. You're beating your score, but you have different scores that you're doing. Maybe they have a campaign. I don't know what they have planned for it. I will be staying tuned specifically for that, because there is opportunities to kind of build a little campaign out of this game. But they even have that you're thinking about long term, maybe you don't want to set this up. Remember, there's a web app that does the randomization of the cards for you, so you don't have to worry about that. You have the party version of it, so you can play with a lot of different people. I think that is attractive as well. So hopefully I gave you an idea and showed you enough components and all that stuff to kind of give you a good what's up. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll contact them and let them know, hey, people have questions I can't answer, or I'll answer them the best I can in the comments, because I love responding to you people. I can't tell you what to do with your money, folks. I just want to inform you, and hopefully this helped today. And with that, party people, you take care and have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me on MVM. Hopefully I see you again.